You're listening to LA40 with Katerina Cozias, only on LA Talk Radio.
All right, we're back. It is Thursday morning, and you're tuning into LA40 here on LA Talk Radio. I'm your host, Katerina Cozias, and I love being with you every Thursday morning, so thanks for tuning in. I am so excited to introduce our special guest for today's show, Dr. Theo Kousouli. Dr. Theo,
hello,
how you doing?
hello.
Good morning.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on the show.
How was the traffic for you, LA traffic this morning?
I kind of just flew right over it.
Okay. That's what we do here. We are going to be talking about becoming a master of all things in your own life, and how you can tap into the intrinsic power of self to really heal all the areas of your life. Dr. Kousouli is a chiropractor by trade, right, but you're also a hypnotherapist. Correct. You are also a healer. You're an author of 8 books titled the BeAMaster series. This one here in my hand is called BeAMaster of Psychic Energy. Right. I love that. But you've got BeAMaster of Sexual Healing, was it?
Yeah, sex energy. Being responsible with using your sexual energy to get the relationship that you want, right, the person that you want, and not kind of scatter your energy, which is a lot of what people do.
Well, especially in this day of Tinder and Bumble and,
yes,
all
that
these
stuff can be really bad for people.
Can be spreading your energy, absolutely. Yeah. Now, what we want to really delve into is talking about combining, because this is something that I think is moving. The world is opening up to this a little bit, and you certainly have included this in your practice.
Yes.
Merging physical healing with spiritual healing.
Correct.
And that's something that is absolutely fascinating to me because, again, having grown up in the West, you go to a doctor, he prescribes you a pill, you go home.
Right.
And your method is completely different from that. So explain to us a little bit about what it is that you do and why your methodology is so different.
Excellent question. Well, I don't want to downplay medical science or innovation at all. It's so awesome because I am a byproduct of that. Mm-hmm. I am alive because I have a prosthesis actually from a cow in my heart right now that after my second surgery, both surgeries, allows me to keep living.
Okay.
And
you had heart surgery.
I've had 2 foot surgeries. I've been semi-paralyzed. I almost committed suicide. All these different things have brought me to my mastery. And through that, I've written the series, and I help many, many people also change their life. But the thing that makes it different for me is that not only my experience has brought me to become a doctor, because I was a fashion photographer, glamour photographer, and that's why I had come out here to LA.
To pursue fashion back in the day? This is before you had the calling to be a doctor?
Yes. Actually, while I was going through all that, I learned what I was supposed to do, my calling. People were coming up to me and saying, can you heal me? Can you help me with this? And it was just a natural thing, and I was like always pushing it away because of the responsibility that I had.
I'm going to take it back a notch because your story is a little bit fascinating. You touched on something, you were almost paralyzed. What happened and how did you move through that? Because that in itself has to be a bit of a wake-up call. Can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Yes, and I'll go back to the purposeful difference between medical science and healing and holistic, what I'm doing now in a second.
Right.
But I was actually looking for a question. I had questions. I was looking for answers like many people do as a young adult. I was going through high school and then college, and I'm saying, God, what do you want me to do, right? It's just like, okay, my guidance counselor wants this for me. The aptitude tests say this. My father wants me to become a politician. Oh, God forbid.
Your Myers-Briggs test says you're extroverted, and you're not. What am I supposed to do?
So many different things. And I was just praying and praying and praying. And then I went to Greece, and God answered me in a very mysterious way. I was in a pool, and I had someone on my shoulders, and we were wrestling, and we were monkeying around. He fell. I took my head with him, snapped it. Arm went paralyzed. My heart, my chest, felt like it was, every time I took a breath, was like searing pain of hot tar flowing through me. And I was just like, oh my God, I was stuck because in Greece they didn't know about chiropractors at the time.
How old were you?
I was like 18, 19.
Okay, yeah.
I was just like, what do I do? And I came back to the States in 2 months, around 2 months before I went to a chiropractor because my dad used to really be against chiropractors because he thought it was pseudoscience and it was basically blah, blah.
Yeah,
right?
fake doctors,
fake
right?
Doctors.
I've heard this before.
Yeah, so back then people didn't have the understanding. And also there was a lot of anti-chiropractor propaganda, and it still is, more today even than previously. But people now understand the benefit because they get it. And so he took me to a chiropractor after me, yelling and kicking and screaming. And
so could you move at this point?
I could, in order to talk to you,
Yeah.
I would have to move my whole body. I wouldn't be able to move my head at all.
Wow.
It was stuck because my body was protecting me from actually fully paralyzing myself. I had a very bad subluxation, or the spine was actually out of position, and it was impinging on the tissues around it and causing inflammation, which caused my arm to not function correctly and my lungs and my heart to do weird things. So after that, the chiropractor, I was looking up at the lights kind of like over here, and I was just like, please, God, don't let him fully paralyze me, because this is bad. Everyone that's touched my neck, physical therapists, other medical doctors, they were like, oh, you're fine here, you're just stressed here, take this drug. Nobody could help me with all their diplomas, and they looked older, the white lab coats, everything. And then this guy comes, he's middle-aged, he's kind of like, he was in his 40s, like me, kind of, and he just puts his hands calmly on my neck, and I'm just like praying.
Right.
At this moment, I'm like, this is not what's going to happen. This is not going to be good. And then, with just a few swift movements of his hands, he gave me back my life, and it was like thunder and lightning coming through my body. My heart started to re-regulate. My arms started to tingle and come back. It was my miracle.
Wow.
And at that moment, I was like, "What did you do to me?" And he says, I brought back the life that was within you, and I've removed the interference messing with your body. And I said, I want to do this for the rest of my life with everyone else. This was power to me as a young man.
And so because of that, you decided to become a chiropractor.
I left everything and became a chiropractor.
Wow, okay.
He's told me, go to this school, go here, start here, and then that began my journey into asking questions. Now, I did fight it, Katerina. I fought it so hard because I loved photography. I loved what the ego really gave me a lot. When I did photography, I was really good at it too. I really enjoyed art as a kid. So I was able to create, and then my creator genes were really, really fired up.
Okay.
When I took someone that didn't have any self-esteem and brought them through the lens and I saw their God self through them, and brought them to what I saw them as. And they saw that, and they were like, oh my God. So I was like, well, LA, chiropractic, I might as well go to LA, kind of merge the two, do photography as a hobby.
Okay, yeah.
And then basically heal.
Were you scared of stepping into that role of healer, or is that just a natural tendency that most doctors have?
No, I was the doctors do things in doctoring and healing for many different reasons. Okay. Some do it because of the money. Some people do it because it's a calling. Other people do it because their mom and dad did it, and they just pass it on. I believe it was a calling for me. It was just naturally in my genes. It kept on coming up, and miracle after miracle happened. The first.
Talk to me a little bit about your heart surgery. So that was that after the neck stuff?
The surgery, yes. Actually, as I was going through my life, there were different points that God was basically saying, or my angels, my guides, whatever energy is helping you when you ask. This is what I want you to do. This is where I want to push you to or guide you to. Okay. So one of the things was the heart surgery. At 28, he told me, you have 8 months left to live. And can you imagine what goes through your mind at 28 when they say that to you? You haven't done anything in your life. You've
been in school for 10 years, right?
Exactly.
Right. And so you're thinking, I can't die now.
Yeah.
So in you go for open heart surgery.
I had no other choice. They told me take your blood thinners the rest of your life and have this valve, which is a metal valve, or take the pig valve or the cow valve, and then you have to have another surgery in 10 to 15 years. So it's like a ticking time bomb. What are you going to do? So I said, I want a normal life. I don't want to be taking pills or checking my blood, so I'll go with the cow valve.
Okay. And so 10 years later, you had to have a second surgery.
10 years later, 2016 was my recent surgery, and thank God it went even easier than my first surgery. Okay. And it was even more involved because they had to get out the old one, right? They had to take out the old one and put in the new one.
Okay. How are you feeling now? You look great.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yes.
Amazing.
Okay.
Amazing. It's like I'm back to my normal self again.
Now, will you have to have another surgery 10 years from now? Is that
they told me yes, I will have to have another.
So but we don't know what sort of medical advances are going to come into play by then, right?
We don't know.
How much did prayer, because I know you're a very spiritual guy, how much did prayer assist you in your recovery?
It kept me sane. It kept me sane. It kept me going. Having hope is very powerful. And I do believe in Christ. I believe in the power of Christ. I've studied the power of Christ. I
Were you
I
always
pray.
spiritual?
My mother's
you?
been, no, not spiritual, religious.
Okay.
Religious.
Okay. Explain the difference, because people get confused.
Yes. Big difference between being religious and being spiritual. Now, everyone is spiritual. You come in as a spirit. You are a spirit. You come into this body. You take on a human form. You come here to mold your spirit to your soul. You come here to become a better soul, to become a higher vibrating soul, to help other people. And through helping other people, indeed, you become bigger and greater. And you go back to the one, to the whole, right?
Right.
So you go from the we to the me. You go from the everything to the me. You limit yourself. You go from what God has given, limitless, to limiting, so that you can recreate yourself and see things and notice things from a new perspective. Like if you had lasagna every day, you wouldn't want lasagna anymore.
Tired of lasagna.
Yeah, because you know everything about lasagna. But
Right.
if you come back forgetting what lasagna tastes like,
You'd love lasagna,
you'll love
right?
lasagna again.
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
it's a cycle, just like life and death. It's a cycle. So everything is blessed. Nothing is to be worried about.
So
And I
now you
learned
have
that.
a practice. You have a practice here in Los Angeles. It's
Yes.
a very successful practice in Beverly Hills. And you are, West Hollywood, is it?
No,
Technically?
it's right there. It's
It's
right on
right.
Wilshire.
But yeah, Beverly Hills, basically. And you have a practice. But what you have done is you have created something that you're calling the Kousouli method.
Correct.
Which is a merging of the Western and the Eastern philosophies on how to heal someone, on how to help someone.
Yes.
When a patient comes to see you, what do they come to see you for?
Well, this is interesting because people have said that I don't know why I'm here, but I've been called to come here. And
Your patients will say
patients
this.
will say this.
Okay.
Every one of my patients is in some way, shape, or form. It's like I'm Professor X and the X-Men are coming to me. It's very interesting. It's like, and I can see in them that there's something special or there's something that's going to like open up through their journey. And the ones who stay or stick around for the programs, you can see that and you see that developing. The ones who are not yet ready leave and come back at another time, and they always come back at another time. It's very interesting.
So they leave, they sort of logically tell themselves, this isn't for me, but something in them keeps kind of...
Something, yes. If you see me, it's because you're meant to see me. There's a message or something. Anyone that you see, anyone that comes on your show is meant to come on your show.
I was going to say we can say that, I suppose, with any interaction we have with anybody.
Yes.
To some degree.
Yes.
Right?
There are some people, though, that are like tinkering with the idea or aren't ready or basically need that little push to see themselves from a different light. Maybe they had a hard, rough upbringing or something like that made it tough for them. And I'm supposed to give them that push.
Right.
But some people are just not meant, you can feel the energy. I can sense their energy. I scan them when they come through the door. I know if they're supposed to be there or not.
Now, you scan them just their aura with your eyes, or do you have a machine?
I have a machine that can show them what I see and what I feel in the office, so they can see that. And there's videos on my website that they can actually take a look at.
Right.
But I intrinsically, from the work that I've done, from the abilities that I've gained after my second surgery, my first surgery opened my eyes. I fought being a chiropractor for a long period of time. I fought being a healer for a long period of time. I wanted the easy route. I wanted the immediate power, but I didn't want to have the responsibility. I wanted to be a photographer, still live the
LA
the girls,
life.
the money,
The
the
parties,
liquor, the smoking, the drinking, the parties, and that slowly just kind of faded away as I started going into more purposeful living. And I learned so much, and that came through the books.
Now, what is purposeful living in your opinion? What has changed for you? Is it diet? Is it meditation? What do you consider is that sort of shift?
For me, or for just anyone?
For you.
For me, it's basically waking up in the morning and doing everything I can to maximize every breath.
Okay.
Every
Example.
heartbeat.
Just
every heartbeat.
for the day. This is your intention for the day.
That's it.
Okay.
Because nothing is promised to us, Katerina.
You know that more
I know
than
that.
anyone.
I know that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You wake up in the morning, you should say, thank God I woke up. I can co-create whatever I need to create. I can help someone's life. I can change my own life.
Right.
I can create for myself or experience in this life. You have that power. And when you forget that you have that power because of the distractions and the mind stealing, because that's what's going on. A lot of people steal your thoughts. They steal your mind.
How?
We have in society right now so many distractions taking you from where you need to go.
And these are, in my opinion, quite orchestrated many times. But
They
yes,
are.
continue.
They are. Now imagine this. you and I grow up and we are privileged.
Okay.
Let's just say
Lucky us?
elite.
Sure. Yep.
All right. We have all the abundance of cash, all the given to us from our ancestors
Sure.
or whatever.
Okay.
You and I are going to see people that don't have that as lower than us.
Okay.
Right? You're going to see that as basically they're a menace to society. We need to get rid of them. We need to depopulate. We need to do all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what most people would say, Illuminati,
Right.
right? Or put words to it.
Yeah.
But it's bigger than that. It's not just basically one small group. It's actually a mind virus,
Okay.
right? So if that is in play, and you know the rules, and you play by the rules, the people that don't know the rules and don't play by the rules are weaker.
And I was going to say, the elitists do that through advertising,
Yes,
through
they sure do.
Kardashians and football, through Facebook, probably all of that, right?
All of
That's
that.
the type of distraction that you're talking
All
about.
of that,
right?
yes.
We're infiltrating
Yes.
society with.
Yes.
Right.
You
And
know,
so how does one not get sucked into that? And if they don't, what are they doing with their time instead?
that's where purposeful living comes into play. I'm very grateful that I've had the crazy things that have happened to me that some people is like, I can never. I get emails from people that see my video of the surgery and the recuperation. I'm like, how'd you recuperate so quickly? I mean, I would die going through something like that. That's what they say.
Right.
And you know the mind virus is in play in their mind. That's exactly what their life is like. So if you are out there and you're actually not living the life, purposeful living, then I want you to stop and ask yourself, where is my instruction coming from? Where is my programming made? When was it made? Who gave me the rules? Who gave me the beliefs? What is in my heart? What is in my mind? What am I spewing to my friends, family, and strangers on every day? Am I waking up in the morning being thankful and loving my life, or am I cursing the day I was born?
Right. What kind of energy are you bringing into your day, right?
Yes.
You are a fan of meditation, but I want you to explain a little bit the difference between meditation, Christian meditation, and transcendental meditation. Because we're hearing that word, especially for anyone local to LA. And the thing that I love, Theo, about this is we're streaming all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And so we've got people tuning in from all over, but especially on the West Coast, and I've lived in different parts of the world, you really do feel this spiritualism, and we'll talk about real spirituality and sort of the fake spirituality in a minute. But talk to me about the difference between the meditations.
And before I go into the meditations,
Sure.
I'm going to go a little bit before that to history.
Okay.
Religion has messed up the notion of what you're supposed to do in your connection to God. They put middlemen between you, your mind, and God. Now, all that's one thing. Mind, you, God, it's all connected. Now, if a middleman comes in and says, hey, you need to give me X amount of money per week or month, you need to come to a building to worship, and I'll tell you all about God, that used to be useful back in the day when people didn't have educated minds, and the layperson was like, I don't know, can you tell me about God? Because I don't have any experience. Now, religion and spirituality, like we said previously, we're mentioning this, they're two totally different things. And going into meditation and prayer, two totally different things. Now, God is everywhere, is in the cells of your body, is in the thoughts that you say, in the feelings that you feel, in the baby's eyes that when they look at you.
Now, for people that aren't religious, I suppose they could substitute the word God for source, for the universal mind, for infinite intelligence, or is God different?
God is everything. So if you look at the molecules of this microphone or the molecules in your skin, or it's everything. I think religion, this is what I feel, God has hijacked. I think czars, kings, queens, tyrants, dictators have hijacked Jesus, Christ, religion, and they've made it what they want it to be for their own power and their own selfish reasons. So why not say God? Why be fearful of saying the word God? Why be fearful of learning the workings of Christ and what he had to teach? There's power in that. There's power in that. And when I started to really look at spiritualism from a internal standpoint, not from what a building or a church told me, I started to get it, and I started to have a better connection with God.
Okay.
And my own, like it says, you have to have your own connection to God. And if you have that, nobody can tell you what your truth is. Right? Nobody can lie to you. And that's the thing, is the people who are in this trance in their life, they're not living purposefully, they're in a lie. They're in an illusion within the illusion.
Because a lot of people do run around out there thinking the economy is to blame, my spouse is to blame, the reality is my health is to blame. But basically what you're saying is you have the power to be your own master and go inside for that energy source?
Right. Jesus told Peter, on this rock, Peter, you are my rock, on this rock I will build my church. The church is within all of us. Right? So if we can learn so much just from that one sentence or that phrase.
And I believe that, especially Jesus, and we saw it not just in Christianity with Jesus, but you saw it with Buddha, with, Lao Tzu. You saw it going back. These were masters who understood the
in every
power.
Area, in every area of the earth and every century, someone has been sent forth to guide the people. Right? In my understanding, the workings of Christ have been the test of time. And they've been here so long. We still speak that name. So many centuries later, there's power there. There's power.
But you get a lot of people saying, the miracles of Christ, and anyone that's a follower of religion and the Bible, Christianity, knows a lot of these. You don't have to
be a religious follower of Christ to love Christ and love his teachings. That's something most people don't understand. Yeah, they, I can understand and learn from many people. Buddha, Christ, even Muhammad. What did he say? What can I take from that was useful? That is loving. That is there anything in there? Because every situation, remember, we can't take what's going on in our life now and take it back to that era. That era had its own challenges, its own politics, its own people, its own problems, its own plagues, right?
Right.
So it's so different. So you have to kind of think with the mentality of back then, okay, of course, a Muhammad would show up in this land, in this area for this reason. Okay, that's why Jesus came into this place for that reason.
How important is a positive attitude? Because these were all people who believed in faith and who believed in having a desire, and that is what led to the miracles.
Right.
When you're treating your patients, how into their mind do you get with the healing versus, because physically you're a chiropractor, I would assume I would step into your office and just get moved around a little bit and off I go. Yeah.
Many people come in for a physical ailment. That's what brings them in. But that's the end result of their thinking, their negative thinking, and not thinking positively, and what has led them to that. Now, see, how disease happens, dis-ease, not being at ease. A peaceful mind is at ease, right? What happens to a dis-eased mind? It goes into chaos. So the first step would be a spiritual breaking of the law that you are God source.
Okay.
That will lead to a mental breakdown of what you believe, what you think, your faith. That breaks down into emotions that are not in line with harmony.
Right.
Right? That, over a period of time, leads to physical ailment. So if somebody
like
has...
Like a cancer, like a chronic illness.
Right. The cancer didn't pop up one day. It was there over a long period of time. And you see someone who has a divorce, and you see them waste away over time. You see somebody who has an ulcer, and they have nervousness all their life. You see, it's connected. In Chinese medicine, we know that for now a long period of time. Greeks knew this way back. Chiropractic, hiro, hand, practicing with the hand. This is Greek. Yeah. The Greeks knew all this, and we're coming back, and the Western, which has only been around for maybe 100, 200 years, kind of like, is coming together with the 6,000 years of holistic healing and coming back together to give even better, more powerful future for us as human beings here.
Well, and we see it with even, the history of the Chinese and the Chinese medicine, right? Yes. They were aware of a lot of this holistic healing that, again, with the integration and the opening up of societies, is allowing us, again, to be reminded of it.
True.
Right?
True. Yeah. And going back to transcendental meditation and Christian meditation.
So explain the difference first for people that may not be familiar with meditation at all.
Meditation is basically
So start with meditation, and then we'll break those up. Yeah.
Yeah, meditation is bringing your mind to a Zen-like place where you can kind of get away from all the distractions that are happening, which is different from prayer, because the way I teach it is prayer is a co-creation process with the energy that made you to bring forth more good and grateful things that you're happy about. In the seminars, I teach people to, in my patients, I teach them to get rid of the garbage that's coming into their daily mind, come to a place of Zen-like peacefulness, and then bring in the tools, because there's tools, there's psychic tools that you use in order to create your future.
Okay.
So in the morning and at night, you're going to bed clean, so you don't have any bad dreams, you don't have any negativity.
You're not carrying that through, letting it permeate all night, right? Yeah.
With Christian meditation, you have more of a Christ-like connection to the things that you're doing and the mindfulness of removing the chaos in your life and then getting into a prayer mode. Where in transcendental meditation is all about clearing the mind, sitting maybe in a position, chanting, and creating just a Zen-like kind of peace so that you can have an ascension or whatever guidelines that the East kind of puts together. Now, I'm not knocking anything.
Sure, everyone can have their own preferred method of doing it.
Different ways. However, I find it more practical in this day and age to do Christian meditation, especially if you're a Christian.
Sure.
Because
and so what is Christian meditation exactly?
Christian meditation is basically connecting to the teachings and understandings of Christ and asking a Christ consciousness to come through your life and clear out any negativity that may be there, coming to a point of relaxation and peace in your mind and in your heart, and then after that co-creating what you want. Not by coming to God with, oh my God, this is bad, this is
I'm
bad.
so stressed,
oh
right?
My God. Yeah, sitting down doing 50 Hail Marys and thinking that that's going to change your life. No, coming with a gratefulness and a thankfulness and saying, thank you for everything, give me more good. Bring more good, bring more abundance. Christian meditation gives you more of what you can handle. Okay? That's why they say God doesn't give you more than you can handle. Well, that goes for abundance as well. If you have a little bit and you show that you're good with a little bit, then your Lord or your Creator will give you more. Because obviously, God wants to funnel all the abundance through to His people and wants to find the shepherds that will be able to do that and not spread the money or spread the abundance in a squandering way.
Right.
Yeah. So the Christian meditation brings a Christ-like consciousness to you, and that's what I like to teach.
Okay.
Where transcendental meditation goes into other principles and other religious connections, which are not my cup of tea.
Okay.
And also
because you happen to be a Christian and not a Buddhist.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So, but if you look at other religions and you type in the word meditation and possession, there is a lot of chanting that occurs by bringing in entities and energies which you do not know who you're playing with.
Do you believe in that other side? The spiritual energies, dark energies?
Well, if you believe that there is a yin to a yang, if there's a female to a male, if there's a white to a black.
There's an up to a down, right?
An up to a down, yeah. If you believe in all that, it makes sense to us that there is a power opposite the good, because in order to know the good, you need to know the bad.
Okay.
To know the bad, you need to know the good, right? So it's funny how always the dark seeks the light. And sometimes when you're too light, sometimes the dark, you go to the dark, right? Okay. Like some of these people who fall from glory. Okay. Sometimes they fall from glory because they've been so good for so long.
Right, right.
Interesting. But it's a cycle. It's always a cycle.
Where do you see the future of healing going?
The future, well,
because we are going into 2018, 2019, 2020. Right. We're 20 years into this next century, and things are moving pretty quick. I'm sure you see that in your field.
Yes. There's developments.
And all that.
There's developments in biotech and in the medical field that are just mind-blowing.
Okay.
And they're amazing. Specifically, mind. Mind is where they're going. They're trying to be able to control mind. And actually, in many cases, they're already doing that. Can
you control mind, though? Because isn't mind just collective?
Look at society. Look at how many likes and followers someone who is doing negative in the world is getting compared to even kitten photos. I mean, they're getting more. Look at people who have millions of followers, and what are they giving society?
In terms of any kind of value, any kind of
And you tell me if it's easy to
support.
control people's minds. As a hypnotherapist, I know the principles. As a healer, I know the principles. Now, you can either work for the light or you can work for the dark. Is there another side? There is another side. And it is negatively powerful, and then there is positively powerful. The positive power is the one who birthed everything.
Okay.
So where did the fallen angels come from? They came from the Creator, right? So even when it comes to worshiping, why would you worship a lesser angel when you can go to the Creator? You know, and that goes with some sects and areas of religious control and power that you know who I'm talking about. Certain religious individuals or people who take the negative energy and then try to teach and say you can do everything now. Everything's available. Everything's open. It's a lie. It's a lie. Everything is open with God.
Right.
You know.
And so do you go into this level of conversation with your typical patient?
No,
or
I
do
don't.
you just assess
I don't.
if they're interested in
I see where they're at.
Right.
When I scan them, they come in through the body, and I feel their aura, and I read them. I can know. I'm told, actually. I'm just getting I get downloads. I get taps on the shoulders. I get whispers. I get
how important? I was going to say, how important is intuition? Is that whisper, right? That we're not trained as children, and I think this is where society does a huge disservice to our kids. Is we're not evolving in a way, and again, could be because it is being orchestrated to keep the masses in ignorance, right?
It is.
And
It's a natural thing to do if you were in that energy of that negative power because you want to be in control.
Right.
Yeah.
So
But
listen to your hunches.
for intuition, you have to get rid of all the noise. The first thing is I teach everybody is get rid of the noise. How do you do that? How do you do that? There's so much noise. Well, then that's why I did the seminars, the classes, the books, and that's why I have a clinic that I help people. When you get back into yourself, when you get back to yourself, which is the source, the inner source, what is giving you the breath right now? What is giving you the heartbeat, the blood flow? What is that? Nobody asks the important questions. Is that God? You better believe it.
Yeah.
You better believe it is.
And so that's a nice feeling, though, because then you don't feel so alone, right?
Yeah.
I think that's another thing that coming to that place of stillness does for you, is it just allows you to feel the pulse of your being and recognize that there is a power greater than you that is really there to support.
Heaven, yes.
Right?
There is.
Yeah.
And when that silence, that moment of peace is where you find God. Take a deep breath in right now. Take a deep breath in. And breathe out. Did you notice that moment between the two breaths when you were breathing in and breathing out where there was nothing that you were doing?
Yeah.
That stillness, that's God. Because there was nothing actively you were doing. It was all automatic.
Right.
In that moment, that moment, you can kind of bring yourself to think, well, I don't have an Energizer battery in me. There's not Duracell. It's not any of this. What is making me day in, day out move? What is pumping my blood? I ate a cheeseburger earlier. What happened to that cheeseburger? Oh my God, it became my eyelid.
It became your skin, your bones, your marrow, your.
And I didn't even have to think about it.
When you do think about it, it just seems incredible. It's crazy,
incredible,
right?
But that crazy is God.
Right. And it's again, it's unfortunate that we think of it as crazy. That's
Yeah.
right. If you're just tuning in, and my apologies because we started the second segment without even introducing who we're on with. My apologies. We jumped right back in, but we're here with Dr. Theo Kousouli, who is a chiropractor, a hypnotherapist, a healer, a teacher, an author, a very special person who is really here to help remind us that a lot of the power and a lot of the sense of self really does come from inside. Talk to me a little bit about the power of self-healing, because I know you're a big believer in that.
Yes, all through my surgeries and my healing and recuperation, I had to find the self-healing within me, activate that, turn it on, and make it powerful, so I can get back to what I need.
So did you just kind of do affirmations like, I am well, I feel good? What was the thought process going through? Because you have a video on your YouTube channel, and if you're watching this, I would go subscribe to Dr. Theo's YouTube channel. What is it? Dr.
Kousouli.
Okay,
Yeah.
Dr. Theo Kousouli, just like the way it's spelled.
DrKousuli. Dr. Kousouli.
Dr. Kousouli.
And Instagram and all of them are just Dr. Kousouli.
All of that. Okay, perfect. But I'd go take a look because you have a really interesting video that you shot of yourself recuperating from your second open heart surgery.
Right.
And again, the time you got back on your feet was, incredibly fast.
And you saw at the beginning, my attitude going into the surgery was really, really high. Right.
Yeah, and that's important
Making
too.
light of it, right? Having fun.
I liked your lightsaber sword.
Yeah, I was charging into surgery with it. And you know how funny it was that they actually had that in the hospital that day when they asked for it?
Huh. Not by accident.
No, it was really, really interesting.
Right. How much of our life do you think is planned out? Is it destiny? Does destiny drive us, or do we drive destiny?
No, we drive destiny. We do come in this world with a plan. Okay. You come with a grand plan. And the grand plan is to change the world. It's to change the world, to change the consciousness of everything around you, to be a positive light. When you leave this earth, a lot of near-death experiences and people who have basically left and come back have told of the sense of their body basically downloading everything, their energy kind of just leaving. It does like a download into the earth. It goes, there's an energy wheel, a grinding, a noise, a sound like a siren that goes up through the chakras as it closes. It comes out the crown chakra, and then they can feel a dead person leaving. It's about, and they even did studies, and they found out that it's a couple ounces. There's a certain ounce. It's like the soul has actual weight. Wow. They've done that, and they found that, and that's basically what we come here. We don't come here because when God would be like, "What's the use? What's the use if I already know what to do?" He didn't say, "Oh, God knows everything." God does know the potentials, but even in the Bible it says, "No one knows the end of times, only God."
Do you think everyone has the same potential?
Everyone comes to this earth with potential. And depending on your graduated status of the work that you do in this world, in this era, in this lifetime, you will come back with either more or the same if you didn't learn the lessons. Every man is not created equally.
Okay.
It is, every soul is given an equal chance. But not every man is created equally. Some people are strong, other people are smart, so it depends on what you do. Let's just take this lifetime. I'm a healer, and I work my butt off to get to as many souls as I can, to help as many people as I can. I will learn from every engagement, every single time. If I choose not to do that, I won't learn, and I'll have to come back and learn it in a different way. But if I do it, I can come back stronger. In a different way. Or if I'm tired of it and I've mastered it, I go into another thing. Anything I want to do, that's my free will. That's your free will. Sure. Whatever you want to do.
So you do believe that there's life after life, reincarnation, or not?
110%.
Interesting.
Not the way the church tells you.
Because I was going to say that's contrary to what the religion is. You die, you go to heaven. If you're bad, you go to hell. Right? That's what we all grew up with.
Right. And that's control. That's basically religion telling you, do this. Or else, you know. You got to keep the pews filled. You got to keep the money trays flowing, because this world is a physical world. In physical reality, you need to have some kind of trade. So money, and as I describe in my book, this one, and also the success book, Be a Master of Psychic Energy. Money is also psychic energy. It's your idea and thought process of what. Think about money. What is it? It's a piece of paper, right? If you remove the ink from the paper, what is it? It's a cotton piece of paper. But then if we retype it with 100 or more zeros,
and
you
we
believe,
give that value, right? All
you
of a sudden.
believe.
Sure.
I believe.
Collectively, we've decided to believe, right?
Yeah, otherwise it's a piece of paper. And that's what our monetary system is actually built upon, the trust and the illusion that it is what they say it is. Right. And that is coming to a crash soon.
Well, that's a whole other story.
That's a whole
other show. We are coming to the top of our hour. One tip you want to leave with the viewers with, so that they can start to integrate some of this into their lives, so that their lives can become more peaceful, more creative, more fulfilling?
The number one tip I would say to anyone listening in the program is to start with forgiveness. Forgiveness of self. Why? Because if you give yourself the movement of forgiveness, and I did say movement, because you have to move forward with something, and forgiveness allows you to move forward in your life. Forgive yourself and allow yourself a neutrality in the peace and the understanding and the knowing in your heart and your mind that you are here to learn. So whatever has happened, forgive yourself for it. And then when you're able to do that, you'll be able to forgive your sister, your brother, your cousin, the stranger that just flipped you off when you're driving in LA traffic. That, hey, you know what, buddy? You're having a bad day. I hope you're having a better day. And God bless you. You know, give the forgiveness gift of self, which even Christ told us.
Yeah.
Forgive.
And that's hard for a lot of people. That's where most people have the disconnect because they beat on themselves for the choices that they've made rather than, you know, sort of being kinder to that inner child. Yeah. And I was having a conversation and someone said, you know, you'd never talk to yourself the way you would to your 3-year-old self. You'd be much kinder, much more patient, much more giving. Right. And yet we beat up on ourselves, and you know, so I think starting with forgiveness of self is very important.
It's key. I think it leads up to everything else as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Where can we find more of you, Dr. Theo, Dr. K, Dr. Kousouli?
Crazy Greek name, right? I'm all over the place.
We're fans of the Greeks, can you tell?
Yeah, definitely. You know, Greeks, we did it all. We studied it all, as they say, in the Big Fat Greek Wedding. Great funny movie.
Great movie.
If you haven't seen it, you're missing out.
Right. Website, where can we find you?
drkousouli.com. It's DrKousouli, or easier to remember, BeAMaster.com. BeAMaster. You can find all information there. You can actually change your life, but just shoot me an email, ask me questions. I'm on social media, DrKousouli. It's got the word soul in it, so if you misspell it with S's and O's and OU, it just got DrKousouli.
And I think we've got it here up top if you're watching us. If you're listening, then you got that written to you.
But I'm here to help. If anybody, seminars are coming. Actually, I stopped them for a while to write more books and to get more audio and hypnosis programs out, but they're very powerful now, starting up again.
I'd love to have you back in a future episode to talk about hypnosis, because that's another really fascinating subject that can be also very powerful. But we are up. We are done for today. We thank you for watching. Please don't forget to also follow me on social media at Katerina Cozias across all my platforms. And we've got some really interesting things coming up in some upcoming episodes, so stay tuned every Thursday here on LA Talk Radio, and we'll see you again. Take care. Bye now.
Thank you so much.
You're listening to LA40 with Katerina Cozias, only on LA Talk Radio.